I'd like to talk about, firstly, very shortly, about my family and the war with Nazi Germany. And my father served as an ambulance driver, and he saw some horrible things. In fact, he was at the concentration camps, as they were, whatever, anyhow. And his brothers, they all fought in the war. And then they came home and were all given suits, which was very nice for them, and then told to get on with it. But within 5 years, after they lived in was it Dr. Bernardo's homes, where the kids are, where we lived in there, and then they built a council estates, and from there we moved into a council estate, and which was promised by the government of the time, which was a Labour government, and they could live, and so they'd start rebuilding their life, and it was a hard life, but it was quite a happy, after the war, it was quite a happy life. Anyhow, as time went by, much further down the line, the Conservative Party seemed to want to sell off, gave people an opportunity to buy their council house, which, I, as a young boy, disagreed with entirely, because I thought council houses are for people that can't afford private houses, and a lot of people were in that boat. And so anyhow, and also council houses are hard to sell. So once they've bought them at a very cheap rate, they never sell them, which is, for me, it's I think it was not a good thing to do. But anyhow, it's been done. And then we applied to go into the EU, and I think, from what I can remember, it was quite a lot of people said, yes, let's go. And at first, it took us quite a few years to actually get in, because the French didn't want us as members. But eventually we did get in. And so, ever since, we've been in the EU, which is expanded to, what's it called now, Peter?
I don't know, the European Union?
Yeah, European Union now, isn't it? But it was originally the EU. And we got used to that life. And so for the last 30, 40 years, we've been in the EU. And I personally think that it was a grave mistake having a referendum, because when you give people who don't really, I'm not saying they're illiterate or anything like that, all I'm saying is people have got enough trouble paying the rent, buying their food for their families and things like that. But when you get these politicians, one side goes up and says, yeah, we'd be better out of the EU, and then riding about in a big red bus where we're going to give more to the NHS, we're going to stop immigrants coming in and things like that, then a majority of people, especially up north as it happens, decided, yeah, we don't want to be in the EU. I mean, look how much more money we're going to have if we don't belong to that club. But what they didn't think, people should think, is that if you're in that club and you have allies within that club, then you're part of it and you can control some of it. You can have some control. Now, if you're not in the club, you're in a different room. You're the only one in a different room, like Mrs. May found out when she went there. And so the benefits of the EU is, majority of benefits is the trade, but you have to go along with rules. Every institution has rules, but you're much better off being big than small. And so I thought it was rather ridiculous, but I could see why people voted out. Or, 48-52, and a load of people didn't vote. I don't think that's, a true picture of really what it is. And then you have people like Boris Johnson, Rees-Mogg, and I don't know what the other guy's name is, Gore or whatever. Now you listen to them speak. Where did they go to school? Did they go to Eton? I think they did. They went to Eton. And, then they went to Cambridge or something like that. They've probably never done a day's work in their life. Only they've got money. They are the 1%. They are the 1%. Now, say 1%, you've got 5% of the people who really wanted to get out of Europe because they find that they're probably going to make more money out of Europe. It's all to do with money. It's all to do with economics. But the 95% will be struggling for another 10 years. It's not going to be easy. But they're like fascists. They've kind of, how can you put it? They've manipulated the people, not telling the truth. Just making, it's so hard for me to, I'm so disgusted with it. It's just untrue. Because, we had a place at the table. And we've lived like that, and we joined that club, and I know it's getting bigger, but you're not going to stop at emigration. We need emigration now. It's disrupting business already. So, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And I think I've explained why I think so many people voted for Brexit, because they felt what they were told was that they were going to be in a better position. But in fact, they're not going to be in a better position. And now you have, we've had 3 years, no one can make their mind up. And the longer it goes on, with the Tories, with the right-wing Tories, they just want us out. And people get fed up and say, oh, let's get out, let's do it on our own. But that's stupidity, absolute stupidity. Because you're better to be in the club. Now, we have become the whipping boys of Europe. We're a small nation. And they're saying, oh, these British. In fact, going back to the 1940s, if it weren't for Britain, it wouldn't be like it was. It'd be like Nazis now. We actually saved Europe. And then America saved us. But, now we're taking ourselves out. Or trying to take ourselves out. When we should be in. Trying to create things. We're not in... We've done one sensible thing. We're not in the monetary system. We kept our old pound note. Which it turns out to be a very good thing. But we're still in the club. We can do something. Think of, I'm 75 now, so I'm playing extra time. I'll be on Penty Shootout shortly. But think of the young people. Think of our young people. We're going to have 10 years of struggle if we do this. You're going to notice food prices going up. And the cost of living going up. they'd be printing more money. Then they'd probably print us into inflation and God knows what. Oh, sorry, am I? Huh? Oh, I've lost track now. What was that? Oh no. I think what I'm saying now is, for the young people, I think it's just not right what we've done, because they're the ones that are going to suffer. With Europe, to be in that club is much better for our young people, and in today's markets, everything is world trade. So you don't want to be a small nation. You want to be within the institution, like the European, whatever. I've lost track. Am I doing all right? I mean, you have to cut loads of stuff out, what I'm saying. But do you want me to pick this up? Yeah. It's difficult when you do. Oh yeah. Yeah. So who gains? Who gains? Well, I think Mr. Johnson will gain. I think all his cronies will gain. They're the people with the money. The 95% of the working people, some of them are living. I mean, I went out last night. I went out to a cinema, and while I was walking along the road, I saw about 10 people sleeping next to shops. I see so many other people begging. There was two men. They were on their haunches saying, "I'm hungry," with a note saying, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Now, I'd love to give some money to a couple of them, but I'd be broke. I couldn't afford it. But all I'm saying is, what is happening over the last, and it's getting worse, year in, year out, it's getting worse. So therefore, have the Tories done us a lot of favours? I don't think so. I mean, I've a tendency now to think the only, and I don't like Mr. Corbyn, but I can only think Labour is the way that offers something where you either you have a second referendum, or that they make a ruling with the EU and they get a decent deal. We just don't crash out. Now, with Mr. Johnson, we could just crash out, and that's it. And that's really what they want. And I don't know how they're going to do it, but they make money from it. It's all to do with economics. It's all to do with economics, and I feel so sorry for the young. I really feel sorry for the young, and for people my age, and well, say 65 to 75 or whatever. I mean, some people just don't think about anything, or they talk to each other and they say, "Oh yeah, we're better off." I mean, I asked loads of people when it was going on, and they would say to me, I said, "How are you going to vote?" And they'd say, "Oh, we want out, we want out." And I said, why? They said, "Oh, well, we have more money for this and that. We don't need the Europeans." I said, but they weren't actually thinking. They weren't thinking. They were being, what's the word? What's the word now? I can't think of it. Manipulated. They were being manipulated by these kind of Brexiteers. They were being manipulated, saying, "Oh, you'll get all this." And when people get offered things and saying everything's going to be so much better, then they go along with it, saying, "It's the British way, just let's get out of it." But it's absolute stupidity. Stupidity, really. We can't call loads of people stupid. It's just the way the British people are. They don't seem to. They just want to go along. They want to be told what to do, and then they try and break the rules a bit. That's about it. But I think, all in all, for us to leave will be the mistake of the century. And that's all I can, it'd be a mistake of a century. And I say to these politicians, I say to them, you can fool all the people some of the time, you can fool some of the people all of the time, but you can't fool all the people all of the time. And you know what? Abraham Lincoln said that. And what happened to him? He didn't last long, did he? I think, is there anything else?
Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much.
Oh, I don't know whether it'd be any good, because it's a bit hard when you're speaking like that.
Thank you so much.
But, I'll give a little bit of stuff, but, I mean...
I'm going to turn it off now.
Yeah.
In a second.